Previously, we looked at how the Proto-Yoruboid people emigrated from the Niger-Benue confluence, with some of them settling down in Ile-Ife, where a civil war would be fought, which resulted in the birth of the Oduduwa dynasty. It's quite difficult to express how influential Ife became during its classical period. For almost 500 years, Ile-Ife was the most powerful polity in its region of the West African rainforest. Being the first urbanized city-state in the Yoruba heartland, Ife was able to quickly expand further than any of its previous mega houses had ever reached. So you may ask yourself, how did Ife become so powerful? The simple answer lies in what Akinwumi Ogundiran termed knowledge capital, which is how Ife was able to use its technological advantage to outcompete and outmaneuver other polities, to export its culture, religion and ideals, to dominate the consciousness of the Yoruba people for centuries to come. Beads have always been a symbol of authority to the Yorubas and their Yoruboid ancestors. Beads are usually worn on the wrist and neck and were used to make crowns, which signifies a person's political office or religious position. They were usually made from jasper rocks, which were imported into the Yoruba world through the Mush Niger area. These rocks were then worked down into beads before being sold. The process of producing jasper beads was very labor intensive, involving mining, transportation and polishing. This process took several months, which made jasper beads very rare and gave them a high social and economic value. The possession of these beads was literally the embodiment of authority, and as centralized polities proliferated the region, so did the demand for jasper beads increase. By the 11th century, Ife began marketing its locally produced glass beads to its neighboring polities, especially the blue sergi and red diachronic glass beads as symbols to validate kingships. This destabilized the supply of jasper beads into the region. Ife has succeeded in hijacking and making itself the sole means of validating authority. With time, Ife beads became the spiritual essence of a sovereign. This gave it the ability to promote a new social order, where glass beads were essential for envisioning and legitimizing power, authority, and institutions. Additionally, Ife combined various deities from different Yoruba backgrounds into a standardized pantheon, gaining religious reference status in the process, a concept known as the Yoruba Community of Practice. So, what was the Yoruba Community of Practice? Well, it was a social network of polities that were connected in an hierarchical manner. This was formed either through diplomacy or military conquest for economic, security, and spiritual interest. Myths of founding princes from Ile-Ife are common in the Yoruba region, from stories of Oromiyan being the father of Eweka, who is the first Oba of Benin, and Shango, the third Alaafin of Oyo, while other kingdoms like Ado-Ekiti, Akure, and Oko also believe that they descended from Oromiyan. Some of these myths do focus on Oromiyan's role in establishing dynasties, while others emphasize his military prowess and portray him as a key figure in Ife's imperial age. These myths were used by Ife to establish and obfuscate his political and economic ties with the various kingdoms, polities and civilizations, as well as to give legitimacy to his conquest and diplomatic agreements. Sometimes, Ife could not prevent aspiring rulers from accessing his beads, especially when they came to power through military conquest. However, they often sought after Ife's approval to wear the beaded crowns. Ife could, and often did, decide who could rule in various city-states, as Ife controlled the means to validate kingship and access to markets in the region. The expansion of Ife's influence in the region fueled the growth of his glass industry and made it a very stupendously rich nation. The Olokun Grove was dedicated to the glass industry. It was managed by a chief called the Walode, who was appointed by the Oni of Ife. By the 14th century, Ife glass bead had extended far beyond the Yoruba region and had become a means to carry and store wealth along the bead road. which stretched as far as Mali. Protecting his interests along these trade routes became a prerogative. The southern region of Ife's empire had economic networks and communication links that crossed through the Owenia frontier. This frontier was controlled by the Idoko and Ugbo polities, who, as you can imagine, were very hostile to Ife and taxed its commercial traffic passing through their territories. To the north of the empire was Ife's most important trade route, as through its interregional trade was conducted. Ife exported its products from glass beads, ivory and cotton textiles, and imported copper, salt, Mediterranean and Chinese silk, as well as various exotic textiles. Ife maintained control over this region through the establishment of colonies, tributaries and pier polities, where copper alloyed figurines were stationed for legal and metaphysical reasons. However, the significant events of concentration, conflicts and collaboration that shaped Ife's hegemony occurred in this area. Ife's attempts of establishing itself as a regional power through its community of practice was faced with some level of resistance, from mild revolts to proxy wars. Ifon was a city-state that served as a redistribution hub for Ife's glass-beaded crowns. It was founded by Olaosha, who had emigrated from Ife. The city grew very wealthy from the commerce and religious pilgrimage Ife products brought. However, Ifon viewed Ife with disdain, as Ife proclaimed its founder to be Oduduwa against Obatala, who was worshipped as a deity in Ifon. This made Ifon openly defiant of Ife's hegemonic construct. It rejected Ife's beads, and instead, it made its crowns out of white beads called Seshefun. However, Ifon did not seek to overthrow Ife's dominance in the region, as it saw itself as an extension of Ife's religious and commercial interests. Consequently, Ife decided to tolerate Ifon's intellectual rhetorics in order to maintain cooperation with one of its most important colonies and allies. But Ife had a far bigger fish to fry. Owu was one of Ife's prominent colonies, which protected and controlled the trade routes linking the Yoruba lands to the Western Sudan. The people of Owu built their economy around the trade of iron and cotton, but the city-state really grew in wealth due to the immense volume of trade Ife glass brought through. With its newfound wealth, Owu built up a cavalry to defend Ife's trade routes. However, it eventually decided to monopolize these trade routes for itself. By the mid-14th century, the Igbomina area, at the northern frontiers of Ife's empire, had fallen under the control of Owu, which had begun establishing colonies and collecting tributes from the region. At this point, Ife's empire had fallen into chaos. Owu's revolt had emboldened other city-states to challenge Ife's dominance. That's until Obalufon Alayemore ascended the throne. Obalufon II set his sight on the Igbomina area, launching expansionistic campaigns to reclaim lost territories. His campaigns were very successful, as he employed frontier men made up of hunters, warriors and iron workers. In order to regain his status of authority in the region, Ife formed an alliance with Oyo, an old polity that had been subjugated under Owu's rule. As a result, Oyo grew to displace Owu's and Ifon's status in the Yoruba community of practice. By the end of the 14th century, Ife was truly a grand spectacle to behold. Its cosmopolitanism allowed it to grow in wealth, while its creativity, eye taste for the finest arts, and commitment to excellence gave it an unparalleled advantage to recruit and retain the finest thinkers, talents and workers from far and near. But the winds of change began to blow once again, bringing in who knows what to Ife. Hey, welcome to the end of the video. If you like what you just saw, please like and share this around, and if you would like to see more of this, subscribe to the channel. I also like to use this opportunity to say a very big thank you to my patrons. Your support this year has been incredible. If you want to join these people, you can do so on Patreon. Links to that will be in the descriptions. And before I forget, I would like to say a very big thank you to everybody who supported this channel, everybody who shared, everybody who liked, everybody who watched my video. I am very grateful for your support, and I promise you that next year will be better, next year will be bigger, we'll have more videos, we'll have more things to do on this channel, and I hope you guys will be available for the ride. See you guys next year. Have a lovely holiday. Bye.